Let's begin a look at the papers this morning with the Vanguard newspaper, and the lead story of the Vanguard is intriguing indeed. Very, very, very intriguing, and it's quite colorful as well. Look at it. Wrong time to fall sick in Nigeria as cost of medicine skyrocket. Patients lament, skip medications, seek alternative treatment. Experts worry, propose urgent solutions. That story you'll find on page 5. Wrong time to fall sick in Nigeria. Indeed, it is. That's the lead story of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
And the lead story of the Guardian newspaper here has to do with the economy. Skepticism over inflation, insecurity, economic outlook. That's what the Guardian's leading with. And you see the picture of the central bank governor and some currency and some notes there. With the writer, performance of selected African currencies against dollar in the past 1 year, Naira depreciated by 49%. That's what they're leading with on the Guardian.
Well, take a look at what you have on the front page of leadership newspapers, and you see it right there. Fuel subsidy removal. That's the lead story on the front page of leadership. Hardship persists. Hardship persists 5 months after 72 billion naira palliatives. It's right there on the front page of leadership newspapers.
Daily Trust newspaper this morning is leading with something that's been in the news virtually all through the weekend. And look at it. ACF rejects relocation of CBN FAAN offices, mobilizes top northerners against moves. That story is on page 4. Well, the details you find on the inside pages. That's the lead story of the Daily Trust today.
The Abuja Inquirer is what I have here, and talks about, leading with that, the security matter. 11 Abuja residents regained freedom. Wike unveils plans against bandits. Police rescue 1. But I guess we'll hear more from the Minister of the FCT today in that media party. I'm sure he'll talk about these plans of his. But that's it from the Abuja Inquirer.
This Nigeria has this insecurity, over 60,000 lives lost in farmer herders clashes nationwide, says next year report. Plateau Christmas Eve massacre continuation of herders bravado. You'll find that story on page 2 of This Nigeria.
The Nigerian News Direct is speaking the same language this morning as the Daily Trust newspaper. Nigerian News Direct, look at the lead story. Northern groups allege plot to sideline North. Kick against relocation of CBN units. FAAN headquarters to Lagos. FG gives reasons for planned move. Stories on page 3.
Nigerian Observer is the other one I have here, and they have this matter. Employees restive as Shell handing over onshore assets to Renaissance. Wants clarity. As a Nigerian Observer. What I see up there is the Independent. But we'll talk about Nigerian Observer here. Okay, Daily Independent says, despite CBN's tightening stance, banks' credit rises to 59.7 trillion. Despite CBN's tightening stance, banks' credits rise to 59.7 trillion. That's what the Daily Independent is leading with.
I'll take a look at Business Day. Larger deficit looms with 1.6 trillion naira electricity subsidy. That's the lead story on the front page of Business Day.
Well, let's go back to the Vanguard newspaper. You know, I find that story very, very intriguing indeed. That story, my take on it is, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? What you have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, wrong time to fall sick in Nigeria. Well, let's be honest, there is no good time to fall sick at all in any part of the world, because the discomfort of it is just something. But this has been a build-up over the years. The NIMA has shouted themselves hoarse, that's the Nigerian Institute for Medical Research, shouted themselves hoarse. Nigerian Medical Association have talked about the same thing over and over again. NAFDAC, the NAFDAC DG has spoken about medical insecurity, if I can put it that way. The fact that most of the active ingredients of pharmaceutical products in Nigeria, even the ones that are produced in Nigeria, they are imported. Consequently, we are quite vulnerable. The question we want to ask ourselves is what do we do going forward? Experts worry and propose urgent solutions. What are these solutions? Who is going to take care of them? I'm glad that we not just have a Minister of Health, we also have a coordinating minister, so to speak, in that space. And we also know that the definition of the World Health Organization for health is quite vast. It's not just medical. It's not just about whether or not your body feels good. It's a complete package, so to speak. And how we are cascading all of these things on, I think it's something that we should all take very, very seriously. Phytomedicine is Africa's strength. We've heard that over and over and over again. Question: who is taking the lead? We understand not too long ago, maybe over the past 2 or 3 years, that tradomedical practitioners have been in talks with medical researchers in Nigeria, and I think it was the NAFDAC DG who was also telling us at some point that conversation has been on for a while, and they just need to bridge the gap between the tradomedical claims, or rather, should I say phytomedical claims and medical research. At what point do they merge? Secondly, the quality of medications and the quantity that should be taken at any point in time, because people just consume medical, local herbs and all, because she said, as the DG of NAFDAC said, that's a low-hanging fruit for us in Nigeria. And a good number of people will always point to fruits and certain foods, soups in Nigeria for their health benefits to the body and their capacity to heal. These claims are there, but they just need to bridge them with medical research. That's all we are waiting for. And we understand that medical research is a very, very costly venture. So who will take the lead? That question remains, guys. That's my take on that story from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
Well, if we go by what the coordinating minister of health and social welfare has to say about that, he says this year, 2024, is the year of implementation. So we might see the government taking the lead in terms of medical research and implementation and all of that. But let's just move quickly and get back to the Nigerian Observer that we talked about earlier. I'll take my own special from there, where he says the employees restive as Shell handing over onshore assets to Renaissance. Employees want clarity. That story is on page 2. It's quite interesting here how different organizations are appearing to hand over assets. Is Shell moving out of Nigeria?
No,
or it's just the onshore assets that they're handing over, so they still maintain their position offshore. But let's see how all of this can be clarified, at least for the sake of the staff there, so that they don't begin to panic too much. I know they are panicking right now, but so that they don't get to panic too much. But that's it from the Nigerian Observer.
Well, I'm taking a look at Daily Trust. The lead story is, it comes in different shapes and forms. Look at that. ACF rejects relocation of CBN FAAN offices, mobilizes top northerners against moves. Some other papers have it in a very different manner, in a very, very different format. I'm looking at what New Telegraph says: relocation of CBN FAAN offices to Lagos, ploy to underdeveloped North. That's according to ACF. And you also see right there, northern groups on the front page of Nigerian News Direct. Northern groups allege plots to sideline North. So all of this around the relocation of some offices, CBN and FAAN offices to Lagos. Now, there's a backstory to this. FAAN office, we saw a memo last week released by the Minister of Aviation, and what's the other name around that aviation services now? Aviation, is it Aero, and is it Aerospace? And
Aerospace Management.
Aerospace Management. Yeah, releasing a memo saying that they were directing members of staff to, relocating the headquarters of the FAAN office back to Lagos. Turns out that they had moved all of the members of FAAN office back to Abuja, and there was no space for them here. There was nowhere for them to be in Abuja, and a lot of people had, some people had taken relocation money, which was not enough. Some other people were still taking, what was that money now? When you, per diem, something like that. So per diem for those who somehow do not want to work but cannot work out of here, maybe have to go back to Lagos. There was a lot of confusion around FAAN, let me put it that way. And I think maybe to bring some sanity as a result of the fact that they do not have the space to accommodate their workers, you know, decide to take it back to Lagos until such a time when they have built offices. The minister thinks it will be, you know, totally irresponsible to be renting offices or renting office space at this time. So it'll be very interesting. I think that the federal government really needs to engage with all stakeholders so that people don't feel left out, people don't feel like there is a sinister plan to take key offices out of Abuja. And he also made the case that a lot of the business that FAAN conducts is actually in Lagos, and it only makes sense for the headquarters to be there until such a time when they can build something more befitting for the head office of FAAN here in Abuja. But I think that there needs to be more engagement if people are going to be, but it's no surprise because that's exactly what these kinds of groups do. They always look for what will benefit their own area. I mean, there's a name, social political groups.
Social political.
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, everybody looks at how, you know, things can come to their area, benefits can come to the area. But I think that there needs to be far much more engagement so that there's a thorough understanding of why this moves need to be made. They communicated, but it doesn't seem like
that's what I say. If you have not communicated until the other person understands exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. Well, let's leave it there for Daily Trust and the other papers.
We can call it a wrap this morning on the papers today. We take on the issues as they come right after now.